The fourth commandment of grace. So this is day 4. It's late, and our team lost, of course, due to my weakness and my illness and my nausea, and a few other people not feeling well. We finally make it to base camp. Base Camp Kilimanjaro, or the school hut as it's called. And we file some into tents and some into the school hut, which is just a row of bunk beds, one on top of the other. And nobody really cares. Everybody just hopes for an hour of sleep. And all of our luggage is stacked on one side. And we are layered according to who will get up first and start out. And of course, we were not picked to go up first because that would just be pointless. Somebody would overtake us on the way. We were not in grand shape. So here we are on the top bunk so that the people below can go out, and we're settling in, and it's about 10 o'clock at night, and I realize that I need to go and visit the long drop once again. And this one is especially cruel because at this point you're so high that you can't walk at a normal speed. You put in maybe 3 or 4 steps, and then you breathe a little and you pretend to enjoy nature, of which there isn't much at that altitude, and you say hi to a few people, and then you walk a little. Everybody's trying to pretend that they're coping, but nobody's really even able to breathe. I think it's such a metaphor of what the Christian life becomes like when we all try and operate at this holier than thou level up where the sky is really thin. Nobody's really making it, but we're smiling and waving and pretending that we are. And the long drop at this particular base camp is not on the ground because the rock is too hard. There's no holes to be dug. It is on a platform. So you climb the stairs to this platform for your performance in view of everybody else. And there's a tank below instead of the hole in the ground. I don't know whose idea that was, but in case you're not humiliated enough, this is where it happens. So during one of these trips, I finally finish my last set of clean clothes except for the base layer I am to wear on summit night, which is now imminent. I use the last of my wet wipes to do the best I can. But at this point I realize that I'm going to have to deal with what I look like, smell like, and feel like. I'm not going to be able to hide it from anybody. There's no upwind or downwind right now. We're all heading into the same confined space, and tomorrow we're going to be up close and personal, and it'll be another 24 hours before I can do something about clothing, etc. Because I need 5 layers for the cold temperature at Uhuru. I'm not going to be able to be clean. I'm going to have to pick clean or warm. So you pick warm. And back in the room, we get everything ready for the next day. And I'm still at that space where I think, if I do everything right, things will still work out great. If I just go through my list, make sure I have everything ready, then I'm going to be fine. So I sit there, I pack, I check my list with my friend, and I set out everything I need. And we sleep maybe an hour and a half, and we're woken up, we get all of our stuff together. And we're gonna go up this mountain now. Not even able to give 2 fast steps after the other. We're now going all the way up. And as we're at the foot of this mountain, we can look up, and the other teams have left. And as you look up into this black sky, midnight sky, you see little lights like fireflies going up. It looks like it's going up in thin air, but it's people on the mountain so far away that they look like little fireflies. And just the implication of that, because you're here not able to put one foot in front of the other, and you look up there and you realize people are up there. They've gone maybe 5,000 steps that you haven't even given. Look where they are. Look at how brightly the lights are shining. It's the Christian walk. The Christian walk is us at the foot of mountains, mountains of faith, mountains of forgiveness, mountains of faithfulness, mountains of putting your flesh to death in favor of the spirit-filled life. And people are so high up, or they seem so high up, that you can just never imagine yourself getting there. And that is the message of the law. That's the purpose of the law. The whole idea was that God would give us commandments we can never keep, ideals so high that when we look at that and imagine ourselves living up to all of that, we lose faith. But we were supposed to lose that faith just in ourselves, just in our own abilities, not in God's ability to make us holy, because He is able. But then we need to come to the end of ourselves, which was the exercise and still is the exercise, the expedition to freedom. So we're climbing, and just to summarize, this is the journey where your Sherpas, your porters, watch for signs of altitude sickness. They disqualify the ones who don't look like they're going to make it. And you fear them and you avoid them. And when they ask you how you're doing, you find a smile, no matter how deeply you need to dig. And you get all of your breath together so that you don't sound out of breath. And you say, I'm great. And you try and look like it's the truth. And if they ask you how many times have you thrown up, you say twice. Because you know when it's 3 times they send you off, even though maybe this is round number 10, like it was for my friend who climbed with me. And then there comes a point where they shine the flashlight into your face and you have to show them your gums. You have to stick out your tongue. And they look in your eyes to see if you still have enough oxygen in your blood, if it's still red and pink enough. And if it's not, they tell you that you're not going to make it. And that it would be in your interest to turn around and go down. I have had people like that in my life. People who look at me on my spiritual walk and tell me that I'm not going to make it. Especially in those times when you make a big mistake. There are people who tell you there's no recovery from this. This is where it ends. There are sins that we feel we are allowed to single out and hold up to people as the ultimate failures. The kind of stuff that gets you sent down the mountain before you can reach Uhuru, before you can get to freedom. But on this particular climb, I was blessed enough to pass the flashlight in the mouth, the torch test, and to progress further. And finally, at some point, my stomach catches up with me again. I hadn't eaten much, but whatever I ate was making my system hungry. And I had to go out of the way. And it takes about half an hour to get out of the way and get back with the group. And then you're half an hour behind, another half an hour behind. This is an exasperating exercise. And it was at one of those moments where I'm behind this rock and I'm discovering that I have more problems than just diarrhea now. And I have issues to handle for which I need special sanitary products, which I know I have, I just don't know exactly where. It was there that I was confronted with a physical, literal mess I couldn't manage. And as I was crouching behind this rock, the next team's headlights were bobbing over the horizon. They were coming up the mountain, and I knew that it would be just a matter of seconds before I was caught, literally with my pants down. Situations that we all face in this life. And I could handle one of my 2 biological problems at that point, but I couldn't handle both. I had to choose what to manage. And then I had to pull up my pants to save my dignity, and I got it just, I think I dug into what I was wearing, and I think I got a hold of layer number 3 because it wouldn't really come up all the way because it was held down by the layers I was supposed to pull up first, but there just wasn't time to get it together. And I just waved and said hello, hello, hello to the second team or the last team as they passed us by. Was overcome with just a sense of absolute helplessness where I had 2 choices. Just sit there in the mess that's impossible to clean up, or be delivered by the kind of grace that does not put the emphasis on my mistakes but points me to freedom in Christ. And this This is the fourth commandment. The law puts the emphasis on our failures, when grace points us to victory and freedom in Christ. And I literally got permission from the Lord to leave the mess, just as it was, to pull up my pants, to shine my headlight towards the top, to focus on where I was going, to focus on Uhuru, and to just move on, and to leave it to Him to take care of, to shift my focus. Because if I had to manage everything that was going on, it would take me an hour, I think, which would completely sink the mission to get to the top. So I left it there. And that is what the law will never allow you to do. It'll never allow you to move on without completely fixing the mess you have made. But the God that we serve sent His own Son to step over the mess, which is our lives, and to step into the mess, which is this earth, humanity. He exposed Himself to the worst, is what it says in the message when it talks about Christ coming to meet us. You can go and read Romans 8. He exposed Himself to the worst by embracing the human condition and stepping into our world, to put out an arm to where we are behind our rocks, with people's headlights shining on us, with our own headlights, our own focus being exactly on the mess we've made. And what He is saying to us when it comes to grace is He's saying, you know what, if you look at this mess you have made, it'll paralyze you. It'll stop you on your journey altogether. But if you can, take this headlight of yours and you can shine it, instead of on your sin, you can shine it onto Jesus, and you can fix your eyes on what is above, on what is pure, what is holy, on the character of Christ. Then that focus in itself, that looking into the eyes of Christ, can transform you. Put up your pants, lift up your head, step out of the mess, take my hand, and let's walk to freedom.